All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday Mastermind. Every Friday, 9 o'clock, we are bringing in badass special guests, and there is no one more badass than Hunter Marckwardt, who I actually say your last name right,
I
after how
mean,
many years?
talk about going back years ago. I mean, the first one, wow.
How did he
Yeah,
pronounce it then?
I mean, it was like Mercury.
Markowitz.
Like
Markowitz.
he couldn't even. It's like his mouth stopped working halfway through it.
Well, and by the way, you know how he got me, he fixed me like rough love. He's like, hey, bro, like we were prepping for one of the calls, and he's like, at the time, I think your son was like a sophomore or freshman, and I guess he was listening to it, and his son like innocently goes, "Dad, why does he keep saying your name wrong?" And I
Oh,
was just like, "Okay, you got me, bro. Like it won't
He
happen
doesn't
again."
know this either, too. Like the boys, I've
this.
got two boys. They make so much fun of Dave and I with the fist pumps. Like there's this. Dave was in town back in the old days, and like we went to fist pump each other and we missed. And Jack and
Oh
Thomas were
no.
like, "Oh my God, Dad! Like you're an idiot." I'm like, "Oh, well, I am an idiot, and
He's
that's
pretty
fine."
good at fist bumping now,
Yeah,
everybody, by the way.
yeah.
This just goes to show, guys, that, anyone who starts off, whether it's interviewing for the first time or creating content, we all suck in the beginning. But when you
Yeah.
have tough love and you have friends that will point it out to you, like you get better with time. So don't quit and don't give up on yourself.
You
All
don't take
right,
yourself
Deborah
too
Bird.
serious.
First little words of wisdom for the day. Deborah,
Yeah.
anything you want to say to frame this call before we get into the headlines and topic at hand?
Well, today is the official first day of spring, and I asked everyone before we got on this call if they knew what the spring equinox is. And this is the start. It means equal day, equal night. So every day moving forward, we have more hours of daylight, which this is also go time. It's prime time. It's spring season. People are looking at houses longer. The sun is out longer. So it's now time to, full court press. Let's go.
Right on. Kristen, what do you got to kick off the party?
I'm just gonna feed off of that because I do spring equinox is my favorite like non-holiday holiday, Like I treat it like it's New Year's because it does feel like the first of the year. New Year, it feels like it's still hibernation time. So this is a good time to re-examine your goals and how maybe if you did set those at the beginning of the year, like reset. But yeah, very excited for spring.
I
Kristen, did
love
you
it.
know what equinox was before?
Oh yeah, I've lived in my mom passed that down, so
We
So
know who the
just
yeah.
cool
Dave
kids
and I are
are
like,
of the group.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
Well,
was
by
literally
the
thinking
way,
like,
I know.
Hunter, I love that whole metaphor is like, this is the first day of the year. Because to her point, like the first day of the year is always like, okay, it's go time, but everybody's jogging. And
No, they're
like,
hungover,
yeah,
usually.
yeah, and well, speak for
second day
yourself.
of the year.
Speak for yourself there. But but anyways, uh it is like go time in the mortgage industry. Like, the number of mortgage transactions, the opportunity if you're in the mortgage business, like this is the beginning of the spring home buying season. Hunter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, we're like 3 minutes before the call. Deborah asked me like what we're, like what we did to kind of kick off the spring. And admittedly, I'm like, wow, I'm kind of a bad leader considering this call is about leadership because I didn't do anything to kick off the spring. But I followed it up with like, we kicked off the year like I mean, our groups just we're gelling right now. And I think if you're, yeah, if I actually asked, it's interesting. I asked Ron, our CEO, he's a badass, like, hey, do you do business planning like quarterly for the year? Blah blah blah. He's like, Hunter, I'm always planning. Like, it's not like I need the first of the year to decide what the plan is. And I didn't take that thought process for us, but I mean, we've just been running. So, I mean, I think it actually does make sense to not take our foot off the gas, but I mean, we have it set up monthly, like the first Monday of every month. We review our metrics. We go through our lead conversion. We go through our, credits. How many? I mean, so that it's always. I feel like we're always in motion right now, more so than needing okay, now we're at the starting line. So
Love it. Well, before I hit you with how are you doing this year and you get through the metrics, I want to remind everybody on this that every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Pacific, this newsletter comes out. You need to subscribe. It's called Modern Mortgage Leadership on LinkedIn. It's free, so you can sign up. And every morning, I've already written the one that's coming out this coming Tuesday, and it's a breakdown of Sean Herrera's ultimate open house experience from this Tuesday, which, by the way, like what he's doing, how he's doing it, it's amazing. But at some point in this call, we're going to talk about the lead conversion playbook, where Jessica Uphoff, who's killing it, did an incredible interview with you guys. Recommend you watch it. I think she did like 120-ish million and is on track for 140. She literally has the lowest price concessions in her company, and she's the top producer. And she does most of her business out of Colorado while living in Newport Beach, California. I mean, it's just such a cool story. But we go through like, what is the key to lead conversion? So Hunter, park that, but let's plan on talking about lead conversion as a topic today. But let's get into like, how's your team doing? How's the Markwart team doing? And then how is your region doing? Any data you want to share? And then we'll get into topics.
Yeah, I think one of the topics is just knowing what your numbers are, right? I mean, so I literally look at our numbers every single day. So for me to pull, if I'm looking at, for our team, my own personal production, our credit pulls are up year over year. I'm looking at this as year over year. Our credit pulls are up 107%. Our locked volume is up 62%, and our funded volume is up 127% year over year. And then as a division, we're up 67% in credit pulls, 48% in locked volume, and 59% in funded volume. So it just like then you can measure that against the industry, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, like right now we're winning, so that feels really good, but it's just, I just like looking at these numbers literally every single day to see if they're moving, right? I mean, to be looking every day at how many locks you had, how many leads came in, how many fundings. I mean, it's just, to me, I feel so much more in tune to my business when I know my numbers. And I didn't always, and it doesn't necessarily come natural either for me, right? You can ask me some metric that I might not know the answer to, but I'll figure it out. So I think everybody just, you have to know in this day and age, you have to know what your numbers are.
So modern mortgage leadership lesson number one, and best practice. Like if we were creating, kind of like I did with the lead conversion playbook, where there's some principles and then there are some strategies, this would be a principle. Like, do you know your numbers? How accurate are they? How much action are you taking on those numbers? So Hunter, one thing that I've been advocating for a long time is for lenders to go beyond just scorecarding based off of how many loans a loan officer closes and what their volume is, which I think every lender in the country has a great scorecard that loan officers obsess on, called the leaderboard. But to really start scorecarding on conversion, like, hey, what's your conversion rate? And like in the case I mentioned, Jessica Uphoff, literally she's got single digit price concessions. I don't want to say the actual number, but I mean it's really low, and scorecard on that, because that's like that's your sales fitness score. What are your thoughts on those two things?
Well, I mean, it's a bigger question, right? Because it has everything to do with how your margins are set and things like that. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think it has to do with your stickiness to a client, right? It's like, are you I know these words get used a lot, but I mean, are you a business partner to a client, or are you a vendor that they are shopping, right? And if you're a vendor that they're shopping because you're not engaged, because they are, they feel like they're on an assembly line, you're not actually, you're using everything that AI can replace you with instead of using your own single talent as a human. And I know Jessica, and that's why I'm sure that's what, I mean, her her personal skills and having people know that she cares about what is in their best interest, walking them through a process. That to me, that creates glue versus, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think of price concessions literally as the same level of price concessions is the same level of, are you a vendor or are you a business partner? And as they go up, your price concessions go higher as you become more of a vendor than a business partner. And I'm sure that has everything to do with pull through. It has everything to do with truly what your conversion, what your lead to close ratios are, how many business partners actually trust you to. You hear me say it, Dave, all the time, but it's like, do you believe that you have are you going to be more successful with me as your lender or not as the benchmark to how you go about your business every day?
Love it. Deborah, any comments or questions on that? And then we'll bring you in, Kristen. And of course, Kristen, jump in anytime you want to add something, but Deb, why don't you go first?
For those who struggle with tracking, how would you best propose, like, how did you start and stay consistent with it? Because I hear a lot of times, especially with counting leads or tracking leads, like they can do credit pulls because they can usually pull that from their system. But is there any app or anything that you use to help you get consistent at it?
We have our own CRM, right? And I think for everybody, I mean, in this day and age, it's like, I think we were saying 10 years ago that you had to have a CRM, right? So it's like at some point to me, I think you have to think of it like you not capturing a lead is so disrespectful for the person that gave you the lead. It's unbelievable, right? So it's like, if I have to call you and ask you where the lead is, and then you don't know someone's name or you don't know what you did with that lead. So for me, like, if you just ask me tactically, what do I do? Like, first of all, like if I think about it a long time ago, I surround myself with other people that are better at tracking things than I am, right? So if you're by yourself, then you have to take it upon yourself. If you have an assistant or if you have whatever it is that you have, that person also has to be responsible for making sure that you're tracking that lead. I mean, these are super simple things, but and you have to have a process every single time that the lead gets to, right? Where's the lead going? Who referred it? What are the next steps? So I think, but from a mindset perspective, you just have to say it's so disrespectful to not capture a lead that someone else chose to give you. And I think the other thing to think about, like, I know for a fact that my leads, if I look at my leads, I look at my income, I look at all that stuff, my leads last year were worth $1,352. So when you know the value of your lead, like when you start thinking like that, and everybody can do it. All you have to do is divide your income by the amount of leads you got last year, and that's what your leads are worth. So when you start putting a dollar, you have to change your motivation for why you're capturing it in the first place. And I think if you just look at the cost of the lead and the fact that someone else is handing you their livelihood on a silver platter, and you're choosing to just say, I'll write it down on a paper and hope I get back to it later. It's just like you're a loser of a loan officer if you're doing that. Loser.
Now, if Todd Bookspan were here, he would say, if Todd Bookspan were here, he would then challenge everyone that, are you also tracking your activities, which is something that the Win by Noon planner is great at helping, not only the results, but like you said at the start, your apps are up, your lead to fundings are up. If you know your numbers are up, do you know how to reverse engineer it to then determine which activities led to the tracking of the data? So do you guys track activities too?
Yeah, we track every single day. I have to email out I get Bridget the metrics, but it's how many calls I made, right? And everyone's like, would you write down how many calls? I just look at my phone. I mean, I make every single phone call on my phone. So at the end of the day, I just start it, from 5:30 in the morning until when I stop making calls, and I just give her a number. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at how many calls, how many appointments, how many pre-approval calls I had, how many leads I took, how many lead conversations that we have. So we have that all broken down into a scorecard, and it goes. And by the way, like other people inside of our group, right? We've got a division, and then we've got a branch. And the people inside of the branch now do it automatically. So everybody is emailing each other's numbers, and you get to see, it's just fun. You get to see what activity is happening with everybody, and people will, Brandon will lock 4 loans in a day, and it's like 5 other people are like, dude, 4 loans, I mean, it's like killer. So yeah, that's how we track.
So, so real quick, guys, I'm definitely gonna make this not this Tuesday because I've already got Sean locked and loaded, but the following Tuesday will be Modern Mortgage Leadership Playbook, and multiple strategies have come out. Like data, they're data driven, but they're also gamifying that with their team, and they're not only doing it for themselves and they're leading by example, they're teaching others. And then, of course, another key principle that he said is consistency. They have processes that are consistently be executing. Kristen, what did you have? I know you had a question or a thought.
Yeah, well, I loved what you were talking about around building trust and some of the ways that you're humanizing, like with your competitive edge is about how human you are. And a lot of the research that we've done and the newest report that First Home IQ released a couple weeks ago really dove into this data around trust and saw that only 13% said that of millennials and Gen Z said they trusted that loan officers would not take advantage of them. So there's a huge population that feels this fear. And I think that it's very easy for loan officers to get kind of stuck in the, like you said, competing on efficiency and some of the things that AI can replace. And while that's very good, and a lot of the data points that you're talking about really fall into this, like, this is a hard metric that is easy to calculate. I'm curious how you're measuring, or if you're not, if we could brainstorm how you measure some of these more human soft skill components like trust with real estate agents or trust with consumers, and how we kind of like shift some of the ways that we measure success around that.
Yeah, so that's a great, I mean, that makes me think of we need to do that. I don't know that I don't have metrics as much as I have activities on the trust, right? Like how we do every lead that we talk to is right, it's a Zoom call. It is me filling out what I call LP2 notes, which is just literally like it's asking them questions about what they're trying to accomplish as opposed to me just like forwarding on a loan app and saying, we'll walk you through a pre-approval when it's done. But like knowing their kids' names, knowing literally like why are they moving, how are they referred to the realtor, what kind of a relationship do they have, what are their fears, and then like giving our team as an example, like I think the Ritz-Carlton, like you can gift up to like, or you can spend you like no if you're a busboy at the Ritz-Carlton, or maybe it's changed over the years, but it used to be like you had a up to a $3,000 budget before you had to ask someone if it was okay to spend that money to make a client experience better. So like our team, I'm not the one always talking to every client while they're in the while we're in the pre-approval phase, lead, whatever. So everybody on the team has it's a contest on who can gift more based on communication that they have with clients, right? So we're trying to just personalize, like if someone's talking to someone, they're going to Hawaii, right? Send snorkels, whatever, like for the kids, right? If we screwed up on something, they got frustrated because we asked for a set of docs twice or something. It's like pizza night at their house, right? So we're doing everything we can to make a human experience out of it. I will say this, Dave, I know we talk about Sunday Thoughts all the time. Just last week, the title was The Fortunes in the Follow-Up. And I interviewed a gal at our company, April. She does she does $100 million a year. She's amazing. She just joined us about 9 months ago. And like it was so simple that we talk about Deborah sitting there talking about CRM stuff. It's like all she does is sit at her desk all day, and she talks to clients, and she talks to business partners, and she talks to leads, and she talks to people that are pre-approved, and she takes notes on the conversation, and she sets reminders on when to follow up, right? I mean, and it could be like someone's getting married, follow up after, send a little wedding gift, right? Someone passed away, follow up after, send flowers, right? Someone had a bankruptcy. It's 6 months before it's due. Reach out, I mean, so all she's doing is sitting at her, she's like, she was almost embarrassed about it, right? But she kills it, and she's killed it for 18 years because all she does is take personalized notes on people so that they remember, and then she follows up with them when she's supposed to. I mean, so it's just like I said it in those notes. It's like people hate salespeople because they create a perception of value up front and then they don't execute on it down the road, right? And it's like when you actually deliver and you do what you say you're going to do, it's like
You're
people, right? I
unique.
mean, it goes back to
Yeah,
like
you're
capturing a
unique. You're
lead. It's like,
special. You're a
huh?
friend. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
unique. You're special. You're a friend, and you're just plain old more valuable. I just took a cut and paste from a LinkedIn post that I'm in the process of writing that Kristen just teed up personally. Because right now we're promoting the Modern Mortgage Summit, and I'm telling people, and this is not like a sales pitch, that we are obsessed with impact. I mean, Chris, well, first of all, most top producers and people that win in life, they're obsessed with impact. But because, this year we're going to the NBA, we're going to the advocacy with the NBA in Washington, D.C., and that's where the Modern Mortgage Summit is. I've been like, it's like the impact is more important than the income. And I started thinking about that and thinking that, hey, if you obsess on impact, income will follow. But then I started thinking about, you know what, you can't create any impact if you don't first have trust. So like literally trust is the single most important thing, because you can't create impact without trust, and you can't create massive income without impact. So it made me start thinking of like every decision I make, whether it's an email, whether it's an ask of your customer, does it improve your trust? Does it reduce your trust? Does it, is it neutral? And I by the way, I started thinking about this a couple of days, and I started realizing, I'm doing some things that aren't, they're actually hurting my trust, and it really made me rethink about how I think of everything. Any thoughts on that, Hunter? And then Kristen, of course, will give you another shot at that because,
Well, yeah, and
we're
I don't
pretty
think there's
obsessed
such
with
thing
trust.
as I don't think there's such thing as neutral, right? I mean, you're either creating trust or depleting it, like in every action that you do. And yeah, I mean, and Dave, I feel the same way. I mean, like I get when I get transactional and I don't realize it, right? Or I'm on a phone with a top business partner of mine, but I'm not really paying attention. Like, I mean, those are, that's not good. So yeah, I mean, I think for us to go into, and it's not possible for, I mean, if we could do it, 7 hours in a row, great. But it's never going to happen like that. But I mean, like part of part of what we always have to be doing is literally like I said to the team, each week the team does like one thing that we're working on for the week. And for me, it was being intentional with every single meeting that I'm in. Like, what is the agenda for the meeting? What is the outcome that I'm trying to get from the meeting? Do I need to be in this meeting? And if I'm in this meeting, bring it, right? Like, so literally, like, and I haven't been that way, right? Like, I found myself just like I'm in these meetings and I'm like, I've got some limited bandwidth and I'm like, what am I doing here? Right. So it's just, you have to, I think we always have to, if we could approach every phone call, if we could approach every thank you note, every mortgage presentation with intention of like literally like yeah, just like for 2 seconds before you go into the call, like I need to. I mean, you do it with this, right? I mean, it's like you bring it to every call, and I think people just have to be thinking about that more. And I told you I'm getting coached by Robin Sharma right now, and like one of the things that I wrote down from our last call is seek value, not power. Power is a byproduct of value creation. Income reflects value delivered. 10x value obsession. At every touch point, ask, how can we deliver 10x more value than expected? And the outcome of that will be fanatical followers. It's like, right?
Guys, first of all, that's going to be a clip in Uncommon LO. So keep an eye out for next week. That will be repeated in a little 1 minute Uncommon LO on both Instagram and TikTok. So check it out. That will also be a strategy within this playbook that we're creating. We'll have 3, 4 principles, and we'll have a number of strategies. And I actually, I'm going to nerd out on that one myself and There are meetings that
I'll
I'm
send
in
you my
that I
notes
should
from
not
these
be in.
calls. I'll send you my notes from these calls. You'll geek out on it. It's insane.
Well, I'm already geeking out on it. Uh, Kristen, did you want to add anything to all that? Because I think you might have had something to say on trust.
Well, I don't remember, but well, one thing that I'm noticing between both of what you guys are saying is that trust and impact are intertwined. To get trust, you are focused on the value. And so, Hunter, you were talking a lot about how you're showing up for those meetings, the questions you're asking, and you're very much focused on the impact you're going to create in that meeting that then ultimately gets the trust. And I think so many, home buyers, I mean, I mentioned the 13% stat, but there's also a lot of other data that reflects this distrust, not only in loan officers, but in the housing market in general. And I think it was 6 in 10 said that they felt that the housing system was working against them. And so I'm just curious what are some of and Deborah put in the chat, how do you measure impact and trust? And I think you mentioned a lot of the trust building activities in there that are building trust. It's like relationship building activities and things like that. But I'm curious, you mentioned some of the questions in those meetings that you're frequently asking that kind of pulls out that maybe distrust from the beginning or some of the values that you can lean into, the impact you can create with that person. Can you speak to some of the questions that kind of cut to the core of that to build trust?
Yeah, I mean, I think of it, and I mean, and Dave, I know I've shared them before. I can give you a list of the questions that I'm asking, but I mean, it's not. I'm not robotic about it, right? I mean, I have to fill out this document every single time I talk to a lead for the team so that they know what we're trying to accomplish. But I mean, every conversation is different, right? Like, if I mean, I could be talking to a first-time home buyer, and it's more like, hey, Kristen, I know you haven't been through this before. Like, people come into these things super nervous. I totally understand. Before we even start, are there any fears that you have right now? Are there thoughts that you have right now? Are there questions that you want to make sure that I have answered for you by the time we're done with this call? Right. So I'm just trying to put them at ease. And then I will start with, I mean, they're always going to be different, right? Do they have kids? Are they single? Are they, why are you buying? Why did you decide that you wanted to buy right now? Right. And so there are things like that. And then there's detailed questions on, obviously job, income, RSU, like, do you have fears about how you're getting compensated related to a mortgage payment? But then I talked to a CFO of actually, well, I won't mention anything about it, but I talked to a CFO the other day who bought, 10 homes. And for her, I mean, I said, hey, Biff, I knew who she was, right? And I said, I'm super excited that you're talking to me on this. Can you give me an understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, right? And she had a very high price point. She wanted a not such a big loan. I just started walking through some of her assets and how we were going to qualify. She had a ton of money. I just said, she told me where her money was held. And I said, hey, I just want to be like clear with you. I would be honored to do this for you, but your private client group is probably going to have a better rate than I'm going to have because of your relationship with them, right? And she goes, I mean, honestly, I was like, oh God, would more of these people existed? She goes, Hunter, I don't care about basis points at this stage of my life. I need ease and I need trust. And I was like, oh my, so I mean, it's like, so it just, my point in that, Kristen, is like, you have to it's not bobbing and weaving. You have to move around based on different conversations that you're having with different people. With that being said, I can give, I'll send over my list so that Dave has it on, I can pull it up, but I mean, it's like 15 questions that I like, including like, what's their personality type, right? Like, I'm trying to understand, what is this person about? Do they only care about numbers? Do they care about the experience, right? I mean, how are they referred by the business partner? How was I referred, right? I mean, I'll say things like, hey, Kristen, you met, I know you're working with Dana. If you don't mind me asking, how did you meet Dana in the first place? Right. And then gives me an understanding of, is it Dana's best friend? Did she meet at an open house? Whatever. And then I'll say, if you don't mind me asking one other question, what did Dana tell you about us? Right. Just because it allows me to start understanding, was it like, well, she gave me your name and three other people? Not so good. Probably need to work with Dana on how we're talking about each other. Or, Yeah, Dana said that she's been working with you for 15 years. You're the only lender that she trusts. And if I don't use you, she's probably not going to work with me. Okay, that's the other end of the spectrum of that kind of so it gives me an understanding of how committed they are to me. So I hope that
I
helps.
love there's so much anxiety that a lot of people have, especially first time buyers, obviously. And so whenever you're asking them, what is the thing that you're most nervous about or afraid of, or what questions you have, you're cutting through what often is this like, I need to put up this fight to begin with this loan officer who's going to sell me. And then when you share that, it allows the brain to kind of like come back online and go out of the fight or flight or freeze mode and have a real conversation with you. So anyway, those are great. And I think we'd all love copies of those questions. So.
Yeah, everybody, though, if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link down below, prop by housing.link. Thank you, Scott Nicholson. And all the links mentioned, we'll have a link to Hunter's questions. We'll have a link to both the Modern Mortgage Summit and what we're doing with First Home IQ. And I have a feeling more links will come up. By the way, at the 27 mark, there was another clip for the Uncommon LO. Hey, Hunter, so I know you and your team just do an incredible job of making sure every consumer gets a mortgage coach experience. And then I also know you do an incredible job. How many total loan officers are in your division?
114.
And how much volume you think they're going to do?
Last year, we finished the year at 3.35 billion.
So by the way, guys, just for context, like Hunter has a team that is doing incredible volume, top 1%, and he's managing and leading a large group of loan officers that are just killing it. So, I mean, you're listening to a very special producing manager, player coach. He's playing the game of mortgage. You can just hear his scripting and how just solid he is, and he's leading and managing others. Could you just speak to your why? Because we're on trust, and I think a lot of what a mortgage coach does when it's given to a consumer, it elevates trust. But like, what is your why you do a mortgage coach for everyone?
Why we do a mortgage coach?
Yeah.
It's consistent on providing numbers. It goes against, I mean, it's just, and how many, you and I started, I don't know if it's been, are we like 12 years into a friendship? I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, I think you wanted me to use Mortgage Coach for maybe the first 4 years. I would just touch it from time to time and, call it, I don't know, maybe it's been 6, 7 years where it's just like automatic. For me, it's based on feedback, period. Right. I mean, like when we're giving it to our clients and they say, wow, it's a differentiator, right? I mean, we talk about like how we uncommoditize ourselves. And for us, I mean, obviously I'm on your call, so I'm going to back you up on Mortgage Coach, but I mean, like it's with or without you. I mean, it's like using Mortgage Coach gives the ability to walk. Everyone's concerned doing a mortgage. I know we've talked about this 1,000 times, but it's like people want to know what their payments are. People want to know what their closing costs are going to be. People don't want to have those things change. So like it also forces our team to be super diligent and accurate every single time because we have to honor what we put on there, what we choose to honor what we put on there. But anyway, so Dave, here's what I would say. If I just had to pick, so number one, it gives us a process flow to have a meaningful pre-approval call with a client. The way that we frame it as well in our market, and some people say they don't have the bandwidth to do it. We also tell people, look, we're going to give one of these to you. You might buy in 2 weeks. You might buy in 3 months. You might buy in 6 months. We're going to create a presentation every single time for the offer that you're making on that particular house to make sure that we understand what the taxes look like. So they become addicted to getting this. Like they believe that like they wouldn't make an offer without reviewing a mortgage coach first, right? Like that's their mindset. That's how we train them. So And even, I mean, from a competitive standpoint, right? I mean, like we can't stay in front of every single client all the time. They always go back to look at MortgageCoach, right? So we know when they're looking, right? We even, I mean, it's kind of fun too, just as a sidebar, like there's nothing better than shutting off a mortgage coach on someone that chose not to work with you. You're like, yeah, I don't think so, buddy. You're not getting that data anymore. So, I mean, anyway, so sorry, that's probably a
Well, by
little
the way, I had not
childish.
heard that one, and that is the new best practice. One, there's a lot of
You,
psychological fulfillment from turning it off. And
you've
then, and
never,
then two, from a business perspective, you might win some people back. There's this thing called last chance email. Like, hey, obviously you're busy and
yeah,
you're not returning three of my calls. This is the last chance.
yeah,
And that it's a good sales strategy and it's good psychological energy.
totally. I just mean like the true ass, right? The one that you're
No, I
just
know.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and just for the playbook when we put this, because delivering a mortgage coach experience consistently at scale is what modern mortgage leaders do. There's a tremendous amount of trust that happens because of it, because you're showing an uncommon level of transparency. Most loan officers show one option, you're showing them multiple. Most loan officers just show the cost of the transaction and monthly payment. Here's your monthly payment. Here's the cost of transaction. You're showing the cost over windows of time that matter to the consumer. So it is like when you listen to Hunter and you listen to the process, everything is elevating trust. Uh, Kristen or Deborah, anything else you want to add before we go to another topic? Oh, hang on, Deborah. I know you're getting ready to go, but one quick thing, because you're so good with your scripting. I know your numbers on the back end. So it's like everybody that gets a mortgage coach, they're clicking on it, they're opening it, they see value. And then you also shared how you're like training them. What is your opening script, like 1 minute to a borrower? Like, how do you position the fact that you're giving them this mortgage coach? What does that sound like? So we just have some essence of it.
I mean, when I'm doing the lead calls, as an
Yeah, when
example, I
you're
said
when you're
like
giving it to a consumer,
yeah,
the consumer.
Dave, the next step is I am going to send you a link to the application. We're going to put together all of the documentation that you give us, and then we're going to look at you mentioned that you want your purchase price to be in the 1.25 range. What we're going to do is we're going to put a presentation together with like three sets of numbers. We're going to look at a million, we're going to look at 125, and we're going to look at 1.5, just so that you can see them side by side. You're not committed to 1.5 because we're going up that high. Just want you to see what the difference is going to look like in those numbers. One of the most frustrating things with clients that we hear about outside of working with our team is that the numbers change or that everything seems super easy and simple up front, right? Your down payment's X. We think your closing costs are going to be about Y. And then you go into contract and all hell breaks loose. Numbers weren't what you thought they were. So our goal always is to have you go into that when you're making that offer, you are absolutely clear down to the dollar what your closing costs are going to look like, what your payments are going to look like. So being able to go through this presentation that we're going to provide you, we're going to do this every single step of the way. So just know that our goal right now, period. Like I genuinely believe, Dave, that if you don't think that we're having an impact on you getting this house, you shouldn't be using us. So we're going to be clear with the numbers, and we're looking forward to working with you. So with that.
Boom. Another clip for the uncommon LO. If you're not following it, I think what did Hunter say? You're a loser. By the way, I'm you're not a loser, but you are missing opportunity. Deborah,
Yeah.
what did you have?
Well, I had put in the chat that a lot of times we don't even know how many opportunities we may be missing because your online presence, whether you get cited or recommended from LLMs, or when, say, a first-time home buyer is referred, they're going to go to social and they're going to check you out. And if you're not showing up, if there's no visibility, like what does that communicate to them about the conviction you have of the services you provide? And then further, what is it that you're posting? Do you show stories that are like them where you've recently helped, whether it was a first time home buyer or someone moving up, but you've helped people succeed and they can see that evidence, not top producer in your bio, or this is how many families or units closed. Like they don't care about that part. They want to be able to learn about you and who you are before you even get that first call. So do an audit of your whole, and if you need help doing a digital audit, like I can't tell you how many times we see accounts that, there's like 5 abandoned Instagram accounts that maybe were with former employers, and it's like that's very confusing to a consumer. And so, um, I know a lot of times we measure the number of opportunities we get, but and we can't always measure the ones that we don't get. But I can promise you, if you're not showing up consistently online with educational value, sprinkling in some compassion and empathy around, the real struggles that people have with buying a home today, and then throwing up a mortgage coach, like we call it TCA Tuesday, where you're literally showing people you're more than just an order taker that just says, here's your monthly payment, here's your cash to close. Like this is how today's decisions impact you over time, because that's usually their biggest fear is like, is this a good decision? Am I making the right decision? How do I know? When there's so much uncertainty of the future. So do some time before Q1 ends to do an audit of what you're communicating. And is that adding and building impact and trust, or is it subtracting?
Yeah, just a quick add on there, guys. Also add AI. I am in more and more of my interviews, I'm hearing loan officers talk about how they have AI powered consumers and the questions they're asking, consumers are using AI. So if you don't, one, have AI built into your pre-approval experience like Mortgage Coach does, you're missing out. But they're also getting top of the funnel leads. So not only do the audit of social, but make sure you're auditing how you're showing up in AI, and making sure that when you're creating content, you're creating it for AI and HI, human intelligence and automated intelligence. Hunter, any thoughts on that? Just how you think of what advice Deborah just gave, because I definitely think that's another strategy in this playbook. It's like, what is your digital trust? What is your AI trust? Any thoughts you have, Hunter?
I don't, it's not my strength, but at the same time, like I think people have to recognize that what's not my strength is like on Instagram as an example. I'm more on LinkedIn and whatever. But yeah, to have zero presence now is strange, right? I mean, like you can't. I don't. To me, it's an alarm that goes off more than anything else. So I agree entirely. And then yeah, on the AI stuff, I mean, I record my calls, I plug them in. I mean, even just personally, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, the bottom line is I use AI every single, I mean, I literally just voice note I was out on a walk early in the morning yesterday. I'm like, I just voice note in like, hey, these are things that are going through my head around bandwidth, around, I find myself stuck in meetings that I don't think I should be in. I'm thinking about revenue. I'm thinking about retention. I'm thinking about recruiting. I'm thinking about, should I still be talking to all my leads? Can you give me a breakdown on questions I should be asking myself to consider where I should be using my time wisely, right? And it's just like, and then then I take those notes, I put them into OpenAI. I ask the question, and then it just like it gives me so many different things to think about. So yeah, I mean, it's honestly crazy. It's like I mean, it's like I don't want to like it, but it's really hard not to. It's like having a therapist.
I love it. I love it. Kristen, any direction you want to take this? We're getting into the fourth quarter of today's call. I mean, I've got one more kind of key topic I want to get into, but anything you got?
I don't want to distract from getting, to the next topic, other than I want to say that in our research in the recent report, we saw that over half of millennials and Gen Z said they trusted AI either the same as humans or more to create a personalized home buying plan. And so I think, it's just really more important than ever that we like the things that you're talking about, Hunter, of the ways you're utilizing AI to help you be more human and the ways that you're using AI, like Dave mentioned and Deborah, around generating leads through it. like partnering with it, and also going back to the things that are allowing you to show your, not just your expertise, because you're not the holder of all the knowledge anymore, but you're showing that you add value outside of just what a tool can spit out, and I think that's I don't know, just curious your thoughts on that before we move into the next topic.
My thoughts as far as like just using it
I
or
guess just how you continue to like, and I think you've said this most of the call, so you may not have a response to it, but just continue to build that kind of collaborative relationship. Like I know a lot of loan officers will be like, oh, don't look at online, don't look at ChatGPT, don't, kind of push people away from it rather than understanding that like this is a really valuable resource for consumers. But you have to set yourself up as valuable in a different way.
yeah, I totally agree. And I think it has, yeah. I mean, there's like one, I almost said it earlier, which is like, I think sometimes we treat people like they're dumb, right? And it's like, if you flip that and said, like, let's treat people like they're smart. First of all, if someone told me not to go look at AI, the first thing I'd do is go look at AI, right? If you told me not to do something, the first thing I'm going to do is do exactly what you told me not to do. So, yeah, I mean, I think for people not utilizing it to figure out, I mean, like if you saw me open AI, my folders and everything, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. You have to pull your head out of your ass at this stage of the game if you're not utilizing it to be better. And I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Kristen.
Yeah, and I do want to make sure, guys, we put links for those of you that want to get a trust audit. Deborah Bird put a link on marketing at plugandplay.com. Someone mentioned they want to get some refresher. Hey, Rick, we would love to get you a refresher. One, by the way, you can email me, Dave at mortgagecoach.com. I also put a link to what we call the TEDx page that I update every now and then, but there's a link to sign up on this page. There's a link for all the key resources, get signed up for our Uncommon LO, our page, whatever I think are some of the best videos in the past couple of months. I'll always put, like, if you were just going to watch one video, watch these. And then, guys, there's a link. Like, if you want to get into, you're new, every Monday, we're doing a training. Every Tuesday, I'm doing a sales meeting. Every Wednesday, it's like live coaching. And then you're on our Friday mastermind. So just know I put that link in there. So Hunter, in this fourth quarter, let's get into your code. We both have a common friend, Chris Devon. And for anyone that hasn't heard, like, hey, what's your code? I'm writing a book called Savage Code. Your code is your beliefs, your values, your philosophies, your mantras, just things that you say all the time. Our good friend is fighting cancer. He's got this bracelet that I'm wearing. I bet, yep, Hunter's wearing it. He made black ones for me, by the way, Hunter. Uh, but, you know, one of them is WGT. We got this. One of them is WN question mark. Why not us? Why not me? WTD, win the day. And then PVC, positive voice choice. Think of that as like a compass. Like Chris, by the way, he's a baller loan officer. He's really doing a lot of volume. Like it's mind-boggling the amount of volume that his team is doing while this man is fighting for his life. He's a father, 3 kids, and
For a
he's got this
beautiful
code.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, just this beautiful family. So one ode to Chris. Hunter and I both had a chat with him this morning. It was funny. I was talking to Chris on the phone and I texted Hunter and he's like we're both leaning into this guy. First of all, he's a good friend and a person that just gives you energy when you're around him. But Hunter, let's talk about the code. And I'm not going to put you on the spot and get into your code unless you want to share something. But I think in this world of AI where it's an automated code and it's making it faster and easier to do a transaction at scale. It's making it faster and easier for you to be a mortgage coach. Like we're using AI prompts to create a mortgage coach now. But I think it's more important than ever that people have a code, they live a code. And so share some thoughts, because I know you're a very intentional dude. And what are some of the, codes that you think loan officers need to win going forward? Anything you want to share personally?
I mean, I don't, you and I've talked about me spending more time with you on identifying my code. I think my code is just like my vision, my mission for myself is to breathe life into everyone that I interact with, everyone that I engage with.
Code.
Um, huh?
That's a code.
That's a code. I think, I mean, this is overly simplistic, but I think for me, with that being my code, I also think loan officers, where it's like, have an impact on the people that you're communicating with, right? Like you will be replaced if you choose not to have an impact on a human level with the people that you're interacting with. So, I mean, I'll leave it at that. It's that simple. I mean, it's like, is your day spent doing things that separate you from AI, right? And that can only be through human connection and building trust, right? So, I mean, you can't really say it anymore. So I mean, it's just, to me, it's not that complicated. I mean, granted, being clear on what those things look like, which are, I mean, anything from actual communication with people, certainly face to face is always the best. I know it's the hardest, but phone time, Zoom time, handwritten thank you notes. I mean, I think handwritten thank you notes are going to come back in vogue. I mean, it's like getting a handwritten
By
thank
the
you
way,
note.
stop real quick there. The fact that you do that, there is a belief that you have, there is a code that you have that drives the execution of that. Like, I know I'm putting you a little on the spot, but think of some beliefs and philosophies you have that power that. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I want to. I mean, it goes back to what I said though. Like, I want to be like, I know for myself. I mean, I got plenty of things that are messed up with me, but like, I get off helping people. I legitimately do. Like, I think it's super fun. Like mortgages and selling real estate. Like, I sold software before I did this, right? I would go do a giant deal that helped some Fortune 500 company save $50 million off their bottom line. It freaking sucks, right? Like, compared to, we every day as loan officers and realtors, like, you actually, and with each other, like, we actually get to help at a very human level. Like, that's my code. So doing things that have an impact on that, which, I mean, yeah, a meaningful handwritten thank you note. Like, I have a drawer full of handwritten thank you notes that people took the time to send me that made a difference. And I save them for a rainy day when I need a little personal pep talk. I'll pull out these handwritten thank you notes. So that's just an example. I
Is
mean,
words of affirmation your love language, Hunter? Not to like get real personal, but I'm curious. Gifts,
um,
acts of service, words,
it is
physical.
acts of service. I was just thinking about that because my wife and I have talked about it. It's acts of
Mm.
service.
Is that the same with work love language? Recognition, acts of
I mean,
service.
that's such a slippery slope of insecurities and not wanting attention from people, even though I kind of want attention from people. That balancing act of, I
Uh-huh.
really do. Like, it's funny, Deborah, that you asked that, because like, I meet with a gal every Monday, full blown therapist, on focusing on my internal joy and happiness and not looking to the outside world to validate what I'm doing. So
Mhm.
just to go, I mean,
I did put in the chat to not forget to impact yourself because
yeah,
you
no,
can't
no,
love
like
thy
literally,
neighbor
like
until you love thyself.
I'm 51 and I'm like, okay, it's probably time that I'm just comfortable being Hunter. Like, at some
Yeah,
point, like, I got to just be good being me. So yeah, I'm spending some time working on that.
good for
Thanks for me
you.
announcing that to
Thank you for
everybody.
sharing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Hunter. No, that was cool. Um, it's funny. I grabbed this quote on LinkedIn the other day, where it said, it's a Keanu Reeves quote. I'm okay with being a loner and having a small circle. I enjoy my own company, and I only want to be around with people who genuinely enjoy me. But it's like getting to that piece where it's easy to read and say, yeah, but to really mean that, it's easier said than done.
Well, and even
Talking
if
to
you put yourself
Shayla.
in that situation where others could be enjoying you, if you don't enjoy you, like if your internal state is hell, you could be in heaven and not know it. So it's important
Right.
to always review from within and make sure you're not doing things for validation or what is the motive behind everything we
Right.
do, because you do give your power away when it's up to somebody else for to approve you or to like you. You know, it's just such a powerless feeling. So hopefully we all
I
love
appreciate
ourselves. Go ahead.
I really appreciate that you're bringing up the self-work piece of this. And that's what, working on your code does. And it being the first day of spring, good timing for everyone to be thinking about this. But it then reflects back to your customers, to your borrowers, to your partners, to your teams, like when you are working on yourself. And I think being transparent about it too, it shows that it builds trust. Like it's so much more authentically, there's real connection. It's kind of back to the content we talked about with the impact and trust and leading to income, but focusing on that first. So I appreciate that.
All
Yeah.
right, we're gonna go into
Dave, I got to tell
5 minutes.
you real quick. Shayla and I were talking like 3 or 4 months ago. And she's like, "What do you think is the like? Where are you trying to go with all this?" And I'm like, "I just want to sit on a park bench by myself for 2 hours and be completely okay." I'm not there yet, but that's what I'm working on. 2 hours on. You're going to drive down Danville Boulevard one day and just see me on a park bench, no earbuds, no books, just sitting there.
All
Dave's
right.
like,
I'm
"Okay,
sure I'm
okay."
with you on that one. That's not my goal, but I love that that's your goal and that you were bold enough to share that. I am going to reflect on that a little bit. And also ask myself, why isn't that my goal? But so here we are. We got 4 minutes left to wrap this up. And by the way, another strategy to modern leadership is having a personal code and always working on yourself. I mean, here, like, guys, you heard the numbers that this man is doing. He's got an incredible family. He's totally in love and committed to his wife. I know that because we bro chat, and yet he's got a therapist that he's meeting with, and that he's working on himself, and he's journaling every week. And you know how I know that?
Every day.
Because I get an email. It's called Sunday Thoughts every Sunday. And now, by the way, modern leadership, he's taken that, it used to be this email that I think he literally sent him out personally to like,
Still
he had
is.
a website. And now he's on LinkedIn, modern leadership. Like he is amplifying his code. Um, so Kristen, ask Hunter last question. Deborah, ask your last question, and then we'll wrap up today's mastermind.
When you think about modern leadership from a content creation perspective, and you're, infusing your values into the way that you deliver Sunday thoughts and things like that. And I know you can't be everywhere all at once, but you have chosen a couple of specific channels to deliver modern, content leadership. And I'm curious, just if any thoughts on people that are wanting to show up with their, values in and leading from some kind of content creation perspective, if you have any quick pieces of advice.
They probably be authentic to you, right? Like there's such a balancing act of stepping out of your comfort zone, which we all have to do, while being authentic to you, right? So I think that's all I could say. Use content, talk about things that are authentic to you. You'll attract people that are attracted to that, as opposed to trying to attract people that aren't, I mean, trying to attract people that aren't attracted to you is crazy. And I've learned that over the years. So that's what I would say. Go step out of your comfort zone and go do something. But then whatever content that you're using, it's content that you find valuable and useful, and that will attract the right people, is what I would say.
Deborah.
Since you mentioned Shayla, I just can't express how important going to things like the Modern Mortgage Summit or making sure you're attending virtually to allow others, whether it's the people on stage or being in the room, to poke holes in your own story. And I think, Hunter, you mentioned you're getting coached right now. Is there anything else you've done where you've either hired or gone to an event that has allowed you to expedite your growth quicker, faster, simply because someone asked you the strategic question to just really open you up where you got raw and now you were able to see what you weren't able to see prior to either that conference or that coach that you hired?
Um, I mean, as it relates to just deciding, I mean, I think of me, I'm not a part of it anymore, but I was in the core forever, and it doesn't need to be core oriented. I mean, it could be your summits. Like you literally get to a point where you just say no, and it's like, why not? Just say yes and go do something, and then you find, and then open yourself up, right? Like I go into the first time I went, like I'm not into group events. I never was, blah blah blah. And like the first time I went, and then I like took the chip off my shoulder, and I'm like, I'm actually looking. These people actually have knowledge that I can use. So I mean, there's 1,000 things that I've done at this point, right? I mean, so, but what I would just say for anybody listening, it's like just instead of saying no, just say yes. Like just say yes to something. If Dave Savage is hosting something, you're going to learn something more from going to that than whatever time it was that you were going to do something else, period. So yeah, just say step off the ledge a bit.
So, so guys, all the links are going to be down below. There's a link to sign up for Hunter's Sunday newsletter. It's free. I've been getting it every Sunday for I don't know how many years. It's extraordinary. Like my inbox is full of noise. Like when Sunday thoughts come in, I'm like, okay, I gotta read it. I mean, and Hunter knows I do that because I respond a lot to him. I get a lot of value. He's a mentor and coach to me. Uh, Sign up for the Modern Mortgage Summit. There's a link to that down below. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. this year. I'm absolutely obsessed with helping local loan officers win in this market and do it in a way that's future proof. And I'm absolutely obsessed with changing how people get into debt in America, especially next gen home buyers. Kristen, how can they learn more about First Home IQ? What do they need to do?
Go to firsthomeIQ.com. We have a ton of like we have research, we have a workshop. Actually, the best place would be firsthomeIQ.com/workshop. If you do want to, get started with some of our free resources or learn more about our ambassador program, we do those every single Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So I put a link in there as well.
And there's a big upgrade coming to the website soon. So even if you've been to that website
Okay.
before, I'm not going to say the day, but probably sometime next week, hit it again because, it's going to the next level. Hunter, my brother, always grateful for our time together, man. Appreciate
Love it,
you.
brother. Thanks for being on,
Everybody,
Kristen.
love
We'll talk
you.
to y'all later.
Yeah.
Everybody, this is a
Talk
wrap.
to you soon.
Take care.
Thanks.